Far Cry 5 is the first main series entry in Ubisoft's open world shooter franchise since 2014's fourth installment, and much like that older game, and the one before it, this new title casts you into some particularly treacherous territory. Here the player has to overcome forces dead set on enacting a kind of doomsday scenario. Get through the game's scene-setting intro, and Hope County is yours to explore as you see fit. Choosing your own path through this adventure is the name of the game, but unfortunately the rapidly cluttered map, which fills quickly with waypoints of lesser narrative importance, rather dilutes any urgency that was suggested in the game's first few moments. Yes, there's an active militia here in the area, kidnapping citizens and forcing them to join their cause, but please, don't let that stand in the way of all this other stuff, which ranges from side missions to collect bull balls for an annual testicle festival, and then there's fishing, because sure, the world is going to hell in a handbasket, but the salmon's good, so get your bait and tackle already. Now of course this is nothing new in open world video games, and while the locations and characters are different here, a lot of the moment-to-moment gameplay doesn't really feel like it's moved on since Far Cry 3. Shooting and looting, hunting and hiking, it's all here, but the shiny surface layers can't quite mask the fact that the gameplay on offer is feeling rather tired. What is new to Far Cry 5 is the addition of AI-controlled assistants, and you can have up to 2 at a time. Most of these hired guns are humans, but the stars here are the creature companions, a dog called Boomer, a cougar called Peaches, and a great big adorable grizzly bear called Cheeseburger. There are few thrills in Far Cry 5 so special as bounding into battle with an almighty bear on one side of you, and a toothy wildcat on the other. Supporting characters are, on the whole, a charmless bunch beyond the big bear himself, who's undoubtedly the star of this show. Even the villains are barely developed. Joseph is creepy, but the whole stern-faced Jared Leto had a bad time at Sunday school shtick he has going on grows weary long before the end of the game. His underling siblings fare little better. Surprising nobody really, the one female antagonist is a button-cute hippie sort who unravels minds with a cocktail of locally sourced drugs. It's almost a shame to put a bullet through her often appearing apparitions, such as her chilled out take on this whole apocalypse thing. Almost. There are a few bugs to be aware of. Sometimes NPCs won't recognise you're standing right in front of them, and they will for a few seconds that inevitably feels like forever. Just wander around confused, wondering where you've got to.
Deputy, where you at? What the?
There's some awful repeating dialogue in here too, which is both mission specific and heard when 2 NPCs interact. Nobody needs to hear the same instructions 8 or 9 times as you circle a mission area in a light aircraft.
Yo, Rookie, that statue's one fat hunk of cement. Yo, Rookie, that statue's one... Yo, Rookie. Yo, Rookie, that statue...
If you're coming for the story then you'll be mostly disappointed. There are times when the developers look like they're going to say something significant about real-world American politics, what with the game's talk of gun control, walls being erected, and to literally quote one awful character, Obama-loving libtards. But then they pull back, taking the easy way out of potentially dividing their audience, going so far to actually insert a character who literally tells the player to not take things so seriously. It is a shame that just a little bit more effort is not made to connect these digital events with the world that players themselves know. That certainly makes Far Cry 5 stand out from the first-person shooter crowd. If you've got a lot of time for Far Cry as a series already, then Far Cry 5 is going to suit you just fine. But the likes of Titanfall and the rebooted Doom and Wolfenstein have shown how smart first-person shooters can be nowadays in terms of both action and narrative drama, while open-world itches are probably better scratched by the wealth of fantasy adventures on the shelves. All this means that for anyone who's not already invested in the recurring beats of the Far Cry experience, there's nothing here to stop playing something else for. As such, we're giving Far Cry 5 a fandom score of 3 out of 5.